The shadow part is really quite tricky to work with, especially as people on the spiritual path. What happens is that we are often pressured to be good, and so we deny our shadow parts the opportunity to surface, to express itself, to manifest itself. And so there's a lot of suppression going on, especially among spiritual people. So it's very important to be able to be aware of the shadows. So let's just go back in time, so to speak, right? If you look at your own childhood, think about the times when certain behavior of yours, certain things that you said, certain things that you did was or were disapproved by your parents. So let's say you're not allowed to say certain words, or you're not allowed to express sadness or anger. Now, if you are not allowed to do this in your mind as a child, you would think that, okay, that's bad behavior. And so if it's bad behavior, what happens is you're going to push it down, right? And then it gets into the shadow. Okay, it gets into the shadow. So these emotions are not expressed like throughout your entire childhood, because in your mind you say, okay, these are bad, I cannot express them, I'm not a good person if I express them. And so when you do not express them, they will somehow linger in your unconscious, right? It will linger in your shadow. And what happens is when you grow up, you become an adult, you have relationships with people, whether it's friendships or intimate relationships, the shadow will surface. That's where anger may surface. And it will come out of the blue because, and then you go like, where did that come from? Because I'm usually a really happy person. I'm never an angry person. I'm a nice person. I'm, understanding the shadow, knowing the shadow, and owning the shadow is part of the growth process. Unfortunately, too often on the spiritual path, whether it is traditional religion or even new agey kind of religion, we have been taught not to express those emotions, not to feel them, not to even deny them, deny that they exist, because once we deny them, then what's going to happen? They gain so much more power in the shadow. Two biggest taboo subjects in most households all over the world will be money and sex, right? These two things are not talked about usually. And if they are talked about, it's always given a negative view, negative perspective, negative light. And so what happens is, as children, we kind of avoid it, right? So we avoid talking about these things, or we laugh because there's a lot of shame attached to it. So we push it down. It becomes the unconscious. It is the shadow. And this is why almost everybody struggles with these two things, money and sexuality. Okay? These two are the main or the key key energies that exist within the shadow of human consciousness. Okay, these are not the only two, obviously, but they are very powerful driving forces. In your home, in your household, what are the things that you don't talk about, right? Make a list if you can. Now, these things you don't talk about, but you know they exist, you just don't talk about it because it's too shameful, it's too whatever, right? You don't talk about it. Now, I'd like you to explore this, because they are in your shadow. They are in your shadow, and they exist. And they have a life of their own in your consciousness when you are not aware of how they make you behave or make you think in a certain way. Okay? Now, if we do not address them, we do not look at them, we do not talk about it, we do not work on the issues that we have attached to it, we will project our shadow onto other people. The projection is powerful, okay, and we don't even know it. All right, so I have this friend of mine, very interesting. Whenever something bad happens, or something didn't go the way we want things to go, let's say we're working on a project and things don't go the way we want it to go, and so people will huddle together and say, okay, how to work out the solution. And the first thing he will say is, please don't panic, everybody. Please, why are you panicking? And the thing is, no one is panicking. Panicking, right? He is the one who's panicking. He's projecting this panic onto other people. So as I